Welcome to Down at the Barns, following the story of people and their love of classic cars, everything from restoration to electric conversion. Please subscribe to our channel in the link below. Today I want to talk to you about another project that we're doing. It's another new one in the workshop. It's a Mark III Triumph Spitfire. So we've been playing a little bit with Triumphs, obviously with Les's Stag, and now we've got its little sibling. We did actually see it about 4 months ago, just to take some measurements, understand how we're going to do it, and then it went off for a restoration, came back all nice and shiny. I'm loving the blue. I think that's a really lovely colour. Chassis been restored as well, all new brakes and suspension. It's all looking good. It's all bright and shiny. The customer doesn't want it to be stupid power, so we're not going to put any reduction box or anything like that. We're going to use our 310 Newton meter motor, 120 kilowatts, so 160 horsepower, and we're going to couple that up directly to the drive shaft. We are going to use the gearbox, and I'll show you that in a minute. Not when I say use the gearbox, we're going to have a shaft going straight the way through, similar to what we've done on the E-Type before, and that's really just to use the mountings, keep the original prop shaft, and keep the gear shift. So it just makes our life a little bit easier, keeps a lot of the authenticity in the middle of the car. Triumph, for some reason, brought the suspension quite a long way inboard. It's the same on the Stag, and it's actually quite difficult to package up. The motor's going to come to just almost as far as the centre line of the wheels, and then we've got to try and fit battery pack in here, and unfortunately the battery's going to have to sit relatively high, and we have to try and fit the inverter underneath and feed directly into the motor. So it looks like there's lots of room, but actually there isn't. So this one's actually been quite a challenge. So we've actually built the battery boxes. You can see the one in the rear there, and I've got the front one sitting here on my left. So we're now looking at the way that we can actually suspend them, but unfortunately they're going to go up relatively high. Not really what I wanted to do, but to be honest, it's probably the best solution for the car. Otherwise it's going to become a really convoluted battery box, something that we don't really want to build. It's going to be very difficult to build. The nice thing will be that it'll be really easy access to everything, and ultimately I think it's going to be a really nice little car. The numbers on the car, it will beat the original 0 to 60 by about 2 seconds, so it's not going to be lightning quick, but it will be a fun, small, open top British sports car. I can't really see over the scuttle, but we're going to try and keep the interior of the car as original as possible. Obviously we've got the original gearbox housing in there as such, with the original gear lever. We're going to restrict that to drive, neutral, reverse. Instruments we're going to keep very much the same. We've already taken the clutch pedal out, so we've got brake and accelerator. We're just going to connect up to a remote sensor. So in here it will look pretty much the same. Behind me we've got the rear battery box. We toyed with putting it in the floor of the rear, but then that would take up all the room. The customer wanted to keep the spare wheel, so we've actually put it above the axle. Gives pretty good method to hold it down and support the weight of the battery as well. What I would say is we're probably going to have to do some modifications here on the rear seat. I say rear seat, I don't think anyone's going to actually sit in the back here. It's so small. So I think there's going to be some sort of change in the trim just here to accommodate the rear battery. So I used to go to school in one of these many years ago. So it was me, my mum driving, my younger brother and younger sister, and to be quite honest, I don't know how we all fitted in it, looking at this now. The Spitfire was named after the famous World War II fighter plane of the same name, and evolved over a series of 5 production iterations, with approximately 315,000 manufactured over 18 years. So this is the rear battery from the other side. Obviously, as I said earlier, we tried to put it into the lower part of the boot, but the customer really wanted to keep the spare wheel. So
it does intrude into the boot, but probably not a lot more than the original fuel tank, which sat in the same sort of position. And then we've just got data connector and high voltage connector, and we've got the master service disconnect in here. So I think, although that's going to stick out a little way here, it doesn't compromise the boot too much, and having the weight over the rear axle will certainly help. So yeah, there's plenty of more storage space in the boot here. Be good for going away for the weekend in, I think. This is the original gearbox housing off the car. It's relatively small compared to what we had in the E-Type, but we're going to do a very similar thing. Try and keep the original gear shifter mechanism. So that will be, if I can get it apart. Oh look, this bit comes off. So that will go onto the original mounts in the back of the car. We'll put a shaft straight the way through and into the motor. We'll make an adapter plate on the front here onto the motor at the front. And then we'll have the original gear lever, which will just restrict to drive, neutral, reverse. And then it will feel very much like the original car, and we'll just put sensors inside here, be able to pick up what the driver's selecting. So pretty simple, really. That's the plan for the Spitfire. Estimate is probably about 6 weeks. So join us again next time and we'll show you some progress on it. Hopefully we can get it done in that time frame.
Join us next time down at the Barns, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button.